jambo si kwamba wana create ama wana suluhisho, ni kuharibu, wanaharibu. Jambo ambalo wanafanya, wanataka kuongeza ukora.
Curfew on border operators raises fears of a future of businesses.
Drunk high school students create spectacle in Ruiru town.
Na tunawaonya kwa sababu tunawajua wasithubutu kugeuza Kasarani kuwa Kisirani hapo kesho.
I'm satisfied. We have seen all the areas that we require to be able to beef up.
Ready for the orange battle. Delegates troop to Kasarani tomorrow for ODM elections.
You cannot teach an old dog tricks, eh?
And Kangundo people reject drunk prosecutor after courtroom drama.
This is KTN Prime with Yvonne Okwara and Wilson Buru.
It is the 27th day of February 2014. It's just a day to the ODM elections. This is most certainly your most comprehensive bulletin in the country, KTN Prime.
Indeed, many thanks for joining us. And just on what Wilson has said, Ben Kitili, our political editor, will be joining us live from Kasarani in just a moment to give us an update on the preparations ahead of the ODM elections, the ODM NDC that's happening from tomorrow. So do stay with us for more on that. But let's begin tonight with the uproar caused by the curfew ordered by the Nairobi Commandant on operations of motorcycle transport operators.
Now, the Boda Association of Kenya has warned that curtailing their business by limiting their operations to daylight hours will only drive young men in the business into crime, hence beating the very purpose of the curfew.
And as KTN's Joy Doreen Bera reports, the operators are asking the government they're saying that the government is so keen to frustrate the 24-hour economy they promised to facilitate.
It is rather a common mode of transportation, one that would get you from one destination to another quickly without having to wait for a matatu to fill, or even better, a convenient way to avoid traffic jam.
Border riders, we normally refer to them, that the hours of operation should only be during the day. Come night, they should retreat, they should go back, they should retire to their area because it is not safe for them to operate during the night.
This has not gone down well with the operators who say the 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. operating hours imposed on them by the police will deny them meaningful profits from the business that roughly employs over 600,000 Kenyans.
Vile tunafanya masaa mengi ndio tunaajiri vijana wengi na ndio watu wengi wanaweza kupata chakula ama kitu ya kujisimamia. Kwa hivyo singesema ya kwamba ati iwe ni saa 2 ama saa 3, inastahili iwe 24 hours kwa sababu huyu ambaye anafanya mchana mwingine anafanya usiku.
The Inspector General of Police on his Twitter handle affirmed the new regulations, tweeting that the new motorcycle rules and regulations being developed will clarify which parts of the country the law will apply on operating hours. In the meantime, the motorcycle operation is only allowed from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. However, these newly proposed regulations by police bring to the fore questions on what happens after 6 p.m. when these small business operators have to retire to their homes. The Boda Association says this could be a recipe for increased crime.
Jambo si kwamba wana create ama wana suluhisho, ni kuharibu, wanaharibu. Jambo ambalo wanafanya, wanataka kuongeza ukora.
Unapata mtu ameweka bodaboda yake nje kwa nyumba, si ya kubeba watu, ya wizi.
Critics are now blaming the police for failure to perform their duty of ensuring security and using unrealistic stringent measures that interfere with the livelihoods of Kenya's growing economy. Case in point is the recent ban on night travel, curfews in different parts of the country, and now the regulation of boda operational hours. Joy Doreen Bira, KTN Prime.
I want to seek some answers tonight on that top story right here on KTN Prime this evening, and I'm joined by the Director of Police Operations in Nairobi County, Wilfred Mbithi. We thank you so much for joining us this evening. Let's start by talking about the basis of this travel curfew. Is it backed by any statistics of crime perpetrated either by border riders or by people on borders? What brought this on?
Yes, I can confidently say that this is informed on the fact that during the past few months, we've had an increase in crime committed by people using borders. It's not one incident, not two, there are many.
Do you have a number?
Well, I do not have the exact numbers for now, but I can say it confidently that it's quite a number spread all over the whole of Nairobi city, and this is what made us come with this decision, as a crime fighting strategy, not really disregarding the fact that it's a job creation venture.
Indeed.
People, doing the business or using the motorcycles. Right. That one we agree and accept.
So let's talk about that, because certainly it's not all border operators who are engaged in crime. So what happens to those who are legitimately earning a living? And like we've seen in that story, many young men who might be driven out of business and then going into crime, which then beats the purpose of this curfew in the first place.
No, the catch here is we cannot say who really is the good one and who is the bad one.
Don't you have intelligence?
And, yes, intelligence always comes, but not all the time that intelligence will give you the
have a blanket ban from 6 p.m. to
okay,
6
fine. Not
Doesn't it hurt the innocent?
Say again?
Doesn't it hurt those who are not necessarily involved in crime and who are just trying to earn a living?
Well, we agree that everything that we do has an opportunity cost. So I'm very sure and that somebody will feel a bit hurt. But we are trying to weigh between those that are losing their business and, of course, the security of the general public.
Okay, let's talk about the directive in the first place. We saw the tweets by the Inspector General. He said the motorcycle rules and regulations are still being developed. Why issue the directive? It sort of seems like things are happening backwards. Why not put in place the rules and regulations and then issue the ban on travel in the evening?
Now,
it sort of seems the other way around.
Without looking at the rules as such, I want to talk about security as the basis of the ban. The rules, because I've not seen the rules myself, I don't want to
That's
speculate.
Because they're still being developed, aren't they?
Yes, and I don't want to speculate on what they are going to tell us to do. But I want to
So
look
why
at
not wait then for the rules?
But we cannot wait for rules as crime is being committed. And by the way, let me tell you, it's very, very tricky to pursue somebody who is escaping on a motorcycle. You cannot use foot to chase that person. You cannot use a vehicle because it's going to use the footpaths and all that.
Okay.
So basically, it's quite a tricky issue. And as much as I understand and agree that people will feel a bit hurt by it, we look at the overall outcome.
All right. How do you think this will affect the drive towards a 24-hour economy? Many say this directive takes us back. It's not just this one. It's also the ban on night travel by public buses. And isn't it the police responsibility to keep the people safe rather than instituting a curfew akin to a situation where we might be at war?
Well, I knew that one was going to arise. And I want to say this. It is not the duty of the police alone to bring security in any place on the world. It is our business, all of us, with the police and the general public. I know that we are not... We cannot say for sure this is a good one and this is a bad one. That is why we have to get away out of it. And that is why we decided, yes, in the meantime, as we work out modalities, let us stop it this way, let us do this, let us do it this way, then we see what happens tomorrow. then we again come up with the new strategies. A strategy does not continue operating throughout. We keep changing.
Okay, all right. We look forward to seeing how this one goes. We thank you for making the time to be with us this evening. We've been speaking to the Director of Police Operations in Nairobi County, Wilfred Mbithe, on that issue of the curfew of motorcycle operators. And that is in line with our big question tonight. We're asking you, do you support the order that border borders should only operate between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m.? Do you support the order that border operators should only be functioning between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m.? Please send us your comments to the number 22155. Start with a yes or no, followed by your brief comment. On Twitter, you can get us at KTN Kenya, at Yvonne Okwara, and at Wilson_Mburu. Let's move to another issue that's causing concern in the country. Many parents will want to watch this. Students from a secondary school in Kiambu were rushed to hospital by concerned citizens who found them staggering in Ruiru town after allegedly consuming illicit brew. Some of the students who had been released for midterm fell into a drunken stupor, prompting the intervention of passers-by. Angel Katusia has that story.
There is an old adage that says boys will always be boys, no matter how they pretend to be men. And as these boys from St. Teresa's boys' secondary schools tried to outsmart the wise men, they could not. After being released from school for a short half-term break, the boys decided to first visit a liquor joint. This was the aftermath. They emerged staggering on the streets of Kiambu town. At one point, the highly intoxicated boys could not help but pass out, but it meant little to them.
Lakini tunasema ni mambo mbaya kabisa. Tunajua Mututho Row is in force. Na ni saa 5 asubuhi. Mtoto amelewa na alikuwa anaenda nyumbani kwa midterm. Sisi tuta investigate na tutajaribu tujue alikuwa anakunywa wapi. Kama ni boma ya mtu, tutafamia. Kama ni kilabu ya mtu, mimi kama county lab nitaleta motion hiyo kilabu hata isipatiwe license.
Beyond the bad manners, the boys found themselves in more trouble after some who were highly intoxicated were hospitalized.
Around 12 in number. Sasa wale wengine wametoroka na tayari ni walevi. Na sasa huyu akaanguka chini, wakaanza kumpea maziwa. Na maziwa sio mzuri na watu ambao wanakunywa pombe. Huyu ni mtoto wa shule.
Well-wishers who rescued the boys say they suspected the boys had consumed illicit brew. Efforts to reach the management of St. Teresa's were futile. So, if your son is missing and is from the school, your guess is as good as mine. Angel Katusia, KTN.
Now, the hour is nigh for the ODM party elections. Competing camps wrapped up their campaigns, each hoping to clinch a seat in the leadership of the ODM party in the elections tomorrow. The aspirants called for a free and fair poll, as the Orange Party Elections Board said it is fully prepared for a secret ballot election. Here's KTN's Samagina.
It is a campaign chapter that has brought out the might, flamboyance, song and dance. But as both rival camps clamoring for party leadership positions pitched their final push, the delegates now take cue as the final umpires to decide the next crop of ODM party officials.
I'm satisfied. We have seen all the areas that we require to be able to beef up. And basically, we are now waiting for the function to start.
Competing camps wrapped up their campaigns. The Namwamba Joho Nanok lineup throwing barbs, warning against any form of malpractices.
Tungoje wale waliangusha mzee wakae pale tena watuangushe 2017, alafu wakianguka wakuja walalamike, ama saa hizi ndio tutachishika tuseme hapana mzee, hao wameshindwa kazi. Wameshindwa na kazi, wakae kando, sisi tuendeshe kazi kwa sababu tunajiamini.
In 2007, we blamed Kivuitu and the Electoral Commission. In 2013, we blamed IEBC and complained bitterly against Hassan. Last year, we said democracy is on trial. Tomorrow, the credibility of ODM is on trial.
Na tunamweleza kwamba amepigana vya kutosha, ni wakati wa yeye kupiganiwa, na asizingirwe na wale watu wa kawaida ambaye walikuwa wakimdanganya miaka nenda miaka rudi.
There was a lull in the nominated Senator Dr. Agnes Zani camp on the final campaign day. The group was locked in closed-door talks, not staging a final thrust in their campaigns. But a section of elders from the Kayangoni in Kwale County warned ODM delegates from the coastal region that voters will punish them for ditching Zani.
Sisi wazee wa Kaya pia tumekasirika. Na katika wale walio katika viti wakati huu, viongozi wa pwani wengi watapoteza viti 2017. Wengi wataanguka.
Nonetheless, the eve of the elections did not fall short of accusations and counter-accusations of alleged plot of electoral manipulation.
Don't come to Kasarani to intimidate people, to scare people, to direct people in a particular direction. Allow the delegates to make the decision themselves.
The board is an independent board. But of course, what do you expect? Candidates will always have issues. They will always say, why are you smiling nicely to the other guy and not me? Or why are you doing this and all that? But by and large, I can say that the board is above board.
A total of 24 positions are in contest, attracting a whopping 82 candidates. The delegates' first brief is to adopt the mode of election. ODM Elections Board says it has prepared for secret balloting, but the decision rests fully with the delegates. The convention subsequently will determine the fate of expanding the number of seats to establish 9 party deputies. In 12 hours or so, ODM has a date with the destiny. The party faces a defining moment when over 2,800 delegates converge here to make a decision that might change the face of the party. History is equally on the verge of repeating itself. Like in 2007, when the party was on a brink of crumbling owing to leadership wrangles between the two bigwigs then, that is Musalia Mudavadi and William Ruto. The party tinkered with its structure to create 2 positions of deputy party leader, that is to accommodate the 2 leaders. Now Friday, delegates will be called upon to alter the structure of the party once again. Whether this idea will fly, ODM delegates hold the key of piecing together the orange or slicing it all together. Samugina, KTN, Kasarani, Nairobi.
Right, now that was Sam Ogina who was there earlier, just taking a look at the preparations. We now want to take you live to Kasarani at this moment to see what is happening, and Ben Kitili has an update for us on whether the delegates are arriving, the ballot boxes, the ballot papers, and just what is going on ahead of that election slated for tomorrow. Ben?
Indeed, Yvonne, in what has been largely Tory times for the ODM as part of the minority court coalition, it is time for the ODM party to take stock, time to find out if the orange is still fresh. See what I did there? Indeed, we are coming to you live from the Kasarani Indoor Arena. It is quite literally an arena where different aspirants who have been campaigning across the country will be seeking to floor each other here tomorrow or the day after, depending on when the results will be coming out, to just find out who the next set of leaders for the Orange Democratic Movement will be. And preparations are in full gear from where we stand. It is really late, but we can see us workers still trying to decorate the place to make it ready for the delegates who will be converging here tomorrow. According to that scoreboard right behind me, which is now a clock, it is 18 minutes past 9, and in less than 12 hours, those delegates will be starting to stream in here. That is by 9 tomorrow, and the first thing they will be expected to do is register. But the official program will be beginning a bit later on at around 12, when the invited guests, the big figures in the Orange Party, will be making their way into this arena, and the outgoing officials will be addressing those particular delegates. The outgoing chairman of ODM, Henry Koske, is expected to address the delegates tomorrow at about 1:15. Then after that, the outgoing secretary general is expected, that is Professor Nyang'nyong, will also address these delegates before the voting can start. And before that voting can start, he will also consider the minutes of the last National Delegates Convention that was in 2012. And the next order of business will be to consider the proposed amendments to the ODM party constitution. That is when the delegates are expected to perform that very important act in this particular election, and that is deciding which method they are going to use to elect the next set of leaders for this Orange Party. That has been a bone of contention across two camps of the Orange Party, with the Babu Namambwa and Ali Hassan Joho led group saying that they want the election to be decided via secret ballot, and the other group saying, another group of leaders in ODM saying that they want the vote to be decided via acclamation.
Right, I'm sorry to cut you off, Ben Kitili in Kasarani. We have a technical problem with our picture there, but we will definitely try and get you back. Of course, all is set for tomorrow, as well as us here with our extensive coverage of that election. Wilson?
Now, still on ODM elections, let's take a closer look at the man who has dared to challenge the political giant Raila Odinga for the position of ODM party leader. Simba Arati, the member of parliament for Dagoretti North, has dismissed criticisms about both his capacity to clinch the seat and the reason as to why he is vying. He says that while he supports Raila as a presidential candidate, he himself would offer better party leadership that would support a presidency. Sharon Manye had a chat with the aspirant and brings us this story.
Diving into politics in 1992 and garnering a massive following in his political expeditions, ODM leader Raila Amolo Odinga is one of the strongest politicians in the land. And as such, one would imagine that for this political giant, who enjoys fanatic support from ODM enthusiasts, it would be a one-horse race in his quest for re-election as a party leader. That would be wrong. 33-year-old Simba Arati, the MP for Dagoretti North, is challenging Raila for this seat. For many, this appears to be a joke.
There is no joke. I'm serious. I know Raila is ODM is Raila. This is a battle, and there is a common say, and this is I've been saying. Normally, it's not the fight of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight of the dog in the fight. We need to energize our party. We need to make sure Raila wins the elections.
So it's not a joke. The other theory critics have is that Arati is either a mole or has been planted by Raila himself to offer a mere display of a democratic process to his re-election.
You know, they cannot approach me. I'm not a cheap person. And destiny is a matter of chance. It's not a matter of it's a matter of choice, not a matter of chance. It's not something to be waited for. We go for it. Therefore, I've made it. I made myself. I have to go for it.
Many ODM members from across the country have arrived in Nairobi ahead of tomorrow's National Delegates Conference. Delegates whom Arati is banking on to crown him leader. But what experience does he have, and what is he bringing to the table?
The opportunity I had in employing few the youths in the constituency, then when I was the councillor, I think it was also my benchmark. One thing, I would want to overhaul the party structure. Indeed, you know, it's the one which has failed us. And we're talking about the party which has failed us. Those people who have been there. And I believe it's not the people, it's the structures, it's our own structures. That's what I want to work on.
While he might be seen as the biblical David trying to take down a political Goliath, Arati says that his burning ambition and his grassroots support shall be his sling and stone that will guarantee his win.
My own desire is that Raila Amolo Odinga come Friday, he steps down honorably, because I must beat him this exercise. If I beat him, let him be ready, and his strong supporters to support me. We lead the party, help Raila to become the president.
Will Simba's roar draw conviction from the delegates tomorrow? Enough conviction to fall Raila? That stands to be seen. Sharon Momanyi, KTN.
county governors have dismissed as unconstitutional the move by the Senate and the National Assembly to create county development boards that will be chaired by senators. The Governors' Council also defended their privilege to fly the national flag, saying it is a unifying symbol and would create divisions if all of the 47 governors flew different flags. Rita Tinina with that report.
The supremacy battle between Parliament and governors entered another phase with the introduction of the national flag emblems and names amendment bill before the National Assembly on Wednesday. The Speaker is set to give direction next week on whether or not the House should debate the bill, which originated from the Senate, in which seeks to strip governors of the title Your Excellency and the privilege to fly the national flag. But governors are defending their right to fly the national flag.
We must maintain one united country. If you say counties cannot or governors should not have the flag, how about the national anthem? Do I create a new tune for Bomet? Because it is also part of the national emblem.
Another bill, the County Government's Amendment Bill, is set to be introduced before the House. The bill seeks to establish county development boards which will be chaired by senators. Governors say that is unconstitutional.
And then bringing members of parliament who have a totally different role. The National Assembly's role is legislative work for the national government, not even for the counties. You bring them now at the county level, combine them with the senators, with the MCAs, and then the executive arm, you put them together and then you create a body, an amorphous body to be doing executive work. So you are undermining the constitution.
The governors who have come under pressure from Parliament over their move to seek court injunctions against the Senate are defending the judiciary and also have a word for the President.
When the legislature is doing its work, it must also follow the law. So the legislature doesn't have a carte blanche.
We urge President Uhuru Kenyatta to also ensure he does not support any laws that are unconstitutional.
The governors insist they are not against accountability, but they argue the Senate only has general oversight on county funds.
So specific oversight is given to the county assemblies. That's why we have 47 county assemblies to be able to look at all those audit reports.
The governors who held a meeting with the Editors Guild also opposed a move to include the Equalization Fund for the 14 most marginalized counties in the CDF kitty. Rita Tinina, KTN.